Hey guys, so I've got something kind of weird to show you today that I bought secondhand on the internet, and this is a Crosman rifle. This is called the CQB34. This is some kind of, I don't know what the real gun is called, but it looks like a fighting cat. That's the closest name I can find to it. It's a fighting cat with an A2 stock, or an A... I think this is an A1 stock. I could be wrong. The butt plate is rounded off, and then it's got a broken sling mount. All I got was the gun itself. I didn't get anything else. I got the magazine and the gun. That was it. This one's aged quite a bit, as you can tell. The plastic is starting to yellow. I have a rather mint. Uh, yep. So yeah, you can see this one's probably on its last legs. So I got to be kind of careful with it. It's really nothing special other than having a different front end and having the solid A2 stock, which I think you'd find the adjustable one a bit more useful compared to this one. See, the stock's different, and then this front end piece is shorter than the standard R34. It's got like a built-in, some kind of like compensator, maybe a suppressor. I'm not sure what it is because I don't know what the real gun is. But anyway, it's built into the handguard. It has this crappy fixed, non-adjustable, well, other than moving it around, front sight based on the Armalite A15, or M15. Yeah, A15 A4, and it's all plastic. It's really bad. It's fixed. There's no adjustment to be made to it. So, good luck. Good luck using that. I mean, this is a target gun, but I'm sure people would have probably tried to use this with the intent of competing against other guns, and that would have been quite difficult. The Crosman R34 is bad enough. I mean, I can't imagine how much worse it can get. So, yeah. This is a really interesting blast from the past that I never knew about. I can't find any information on this gun. It says CQB34, and then it's got the Crosman logo on it, but it says CQB34, and then it has the Crosman logo on it. It's got the F mark on it for international importing. It says there's a user's manual, or an owner's manual, but I could not find one. And Crosman has on their website a lot of different manuals for a lot of really old guns that I never knew about. This is not one of them. Made in China. This is obviously a well rifle. It's got all the same different paneling, the same markings on it. It's got the same box that they put their logo in. So, I would get the regular Pulse, or not Pulse, a Stinger R34 instead, just because I don't like the cosmetics of the front end, and I think that the difference in length between the two would be pretty insignificant for the parts compatibility that you lose, and the fact that it has the front sling mount on the regular Stinger 34, and you can also put a bayonet on it, but I can't imagine that would have been pretty commonly utilized. So, that's what I think about it. I'm going to take this down to the basement and shoot it. Forgot to mention that I chronoed this earlier, and it shoots about 200 FPS with a .20 pellet. I shot 5 different shots and averaged about 200 with a .20 and then 280 with a .12 gram. I couldn't find any description for what this is rated for, but the standard Pulse R34, I keep calling it it's not a Pulse. The regular Stinger R34 is rated for like 300 FPS max with a .12 gram BB. So it's shooting roughly around that. Here I am with the CQB34. It's loaded with 5 .12 gram pellets from Stealth Airsoft. Here's the bottle. And we're going to see how this does. I'd say about maybe 30 feet away from my target. I've got a second camera down there for the view. So yeah, maybe just over 30 feet. Let's go ahead and do this. Do I have it? Nope, I don't. Ooh, listen to that. Okay. Really hard to see with these sights at all. My eyes just aren't focusing on it. They're different colors. Oh my goodness. It's just impossible to see where my hairs are in the middle of the diopter. Or where my front post. Oh my god. I have no idea where my... This is so bad. There's one. That's a really rough trigger. But I'm used to that. I'm aiming for the red spot on our target. Alright, final one, I think. Okay, so that was 5 of the .12s. Next, let's see what the .20s can do. Okay, so there were a few things I discovered after I tried shooting the .20s. The first one being that the gun wasn't working as properly as I thought it would. So, first off, the nozzle was bent or caved in on one side of it. 2, the iron sights were nowhere near close to lined up. I fired maybe 50 .12 pellets trying to sight it in. It wasn't until that I put it in a vise and then traced the shots from an observation standpoint that I was able to see, okay, these are dropping fast as fuck. So I looked into the feeding port. I'm not sure how what drove me to do it, but I did see that the nozzle was damaged. And I said, okay, well, this is going to have to be a repair gun. Remember what I said? It was shooting about 200 FPS with the .20 gram pellet? Well, the R34 Stinger is kind of lying on the box, so I got a max reading of 350 with a .12 gram pellet. I chronoed it. That was my highest reading, and then the lowest was like 325. So they are seriously underrating their guns. Although that German proof mark for being over 5 joules but then semi-auto locked is still valid. So here I'm showing off the parts, and it's just going to be a repair project, but the front end kit wasn't molded to the receiver like I thought it was. It was actually, it had some inner parts that held it into the barrel. It was really kind of a complicated setup for a spring gun. So I was able to get that off. I wasn't able to get that orange tip or that orange cap on the end off, but I really tried to get it out with a hammer and hot air, a lot of hot air, but it just wouldn't budge. There's the piston headset, as you can see. Both cracked, covered in like some kind of white residue, I assume dried out silicone oil. So that could definitely use a re-lubricating. And the compression wasn't very good. I could still push the piston through even after blocking the nozzle. That shouldn't be able to happen as well as easily as it was. So those are both bad. I think that spring might actually be a regular AEG spring, so I'm going to look into seeing if I can put in a stronger or a weaker one. Maybe I can play around with that. And then I'll know what to do with the other well rifles if I ever customize one. That's the hop-up bucking chamber. It's a 2-piece, and I have the packing on right there. Yep, see, there's the packing, and then there's another piece to the hop-up set. So the packing is a very insignificant looking spring air cocking packing. I think that one is the same as all the other ones. I feel like that's the same one that KWC uses in some of their spring guns, but I'm not quite sure. I'd have to take another look back and see what the deal is with that. It's a very... I'm not sure if it applies any hop-up at all. I mean, it's got the nub there, or the... what do you call it? That ridge that would have pressed down on the pellet, but it does not have a nub. It's just... excuse me. To my best examination, it just held the BB in place without letting the pellet roll out of the barrel. I could be wrong. There's a peep sight that was impossible to see through because the front sight was black. My eyes kept wanting to try and focus through it, so that was really painful, but if you had an aftermarket optic, probably would have been a lot easier to do. And of course you could adjust wind and jet elevation, but those sights, the stock sights on this gun are fixed. So I've got all the trigger units assembled, the charging handle components are all there, none of it's broken, and the stock comes off. So I've got all the parts, and I'm ready to scrap another unit to repair this one, but until then, it's just going to sit in a parts bag. I think the only thing that really matters to me is the receiver, but when I went to the basement, it was basically shooting like a super soft in that the pellets would almost immediately fly down. It didn't really seem to have much of a hop-up effect, which is kind of strange considering it claims right on the box to have a hop-up. So that was kind of a lie. I'm really disappointed with that. It makes me wonder if any of these other guns have a hop-up. I think the Double Eagle does, the Elite R33, but I haven't seen one in person, so I'm not quite sure. So yeah, that was the video. Thanks for watching. Hope you guys liked this gun.